doing here?
Wow, chị bắt suy nữa.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What have you been doing?
Lai, I show you my secret
Okay, okay, okay.
place.
Begin your senior living journey with us. Let's live a happier, healthier life together.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar Too Old to Get a Job. Thank you for spending some time with us today. My name is Christina, and I'm going to be your host. This webinar series, known as the Silver Circle by Commune Wellness, is an initiative to promote active aging and senior lifestyle. Like with our previous sessions, we hope to connect with seniors to create a community that engages in current topics of physical, emotional, and social well-being. Even though seniors are at the top of our minds, these sessions are also aimed at individuals planning for retirement, as well as children with aging parents. As a token of our appreciation for you being here with us today, we're giving away a couple of prizes to a few lucky participants. So tune in for a chance to score these prizes from Commune Living Bangsa South. All you have to do is fill up the post-event form at the end of the webinar. Very briefly, before we start, I would like to take this time to introduce to you our latest development, Commune Living and Wellness, the largest integrated co-living and wellness hub in Southeast Asia. With close to 900 service suites, this co-living and wellness hub is designed to suit any type of lifestyle and level of medical care, tailoring to a wide spectrum of senior care, which includes independent, assisted, and daycare. There will also be a host of activities organized like this in collaboration with our senior care partners to keep you on your toes. At the core of this development are these three pillars: co-living, wellness hub, and senior care. Our senior care features both senior living options, independent and assisted, whereas our wellness hub boasts over 65,000 square feet of medical, TCM, and wellness specialists to care for your health and well-being. The co-living component is 40,000 square feet of shared facilities to promote community living, but balanced with your own private spaces. The elders well-being and care are looked after, all the while in a space for them to be independent, where they can have a socially engaging life as individuals in an interesting setting by a 99-acre park close to other like-minded people with a regular stream of activities to do. We're opening our doors early 2022, so here's a sneak preview of what to expect. Not to take away too much of your time, you can reach out to us or find out more via our website. I will leave the QR code up for a few seconds for you to scan on your mobile devices. Moving on, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the popular Nancy Meyers movie, The Intern, where a 70-year-old widower who, in the hunt for some spice in his retired life, got back in the game via a senior internship at an e-commerce fashion site. There are plenty of takeaways from this movie, but the movie saw the main character, Ben, adapting to the work culture and stepping out of his comfort zone. So, with the rise of life expectancy, an increasing number of older workers in Malaysia are delaying their retirement plans and choosing to remain in the workforce past the traditional retirement age. The prospect of an aging workforce has put the question of productivity as the main HR agenda in most organizations. While there are still some negative stereotypes faced by the aging employees, a lot of organizations and companies are adopting more proactive policies to be inclusive. Today, senior citizens make up 7% of our population. That's about 3.5 million people. And despite the growing number of senior citizens, only 45.2% of persons aged 55 to 64 are employed in Malaysia. This is lower than in high income economies. A recent study by the United Nations found that 70% of the older workers expect that they will be able to perform their job at the age of 60, and 42% think they will continue working successfully at the age of 65. So the retirement landscape today looks vastly different from a decade ago. Today's older generation are healthier, better educated, more active, and aim to stay at work much longer than before. While Malaysians tend to retire from their full-time jobs in their 60s, many find themselves back in the workforce shortly after, be it for financial reasons or just to keep themselves occupied. So we are joined today by Yap Siu Eng, Recruitment Director of Higher Seniors, who will be taking us through the discussions on benefits of working post-retirement and how to go about getting a job. Ms. Siu Eng has over 25 years of experience in HR, covering recruitment, performance management, development, and employee engagement. At present, her focus is on operations, recruitment, and employer engagement for higher seniors. Higher Seniors is a social enterprise focused on connecting experienced and mature professionals, senior citizens, and retirees to suitable employment with companies in need of talent and experience. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Zoom Q&A chat box. We will bring them up at the end of the presentation. There will also be poll questions during the presentation that you can take part in. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to Siu Eng. Over to you, Siu Eng.
Thank you, Christina. Can you hear me?
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Christina. And hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us in our session today on Am I Too Old to Get a Job? My name is Siu Eng, and it's my pleasure to tell you a little bit of what Higher Seniors is about, and of course, to share with you our presentation for today. Higher Seniors is an online recruitment platform. Okay, we focus on connecting mature adults aged 50 and above to jobs. And while many of our candidates are professionals, we also cater for those who are looking for general work, like work as a driver or even for factory work. Okay, so The next one, we connect seniors and employers. Our aim is really to help companies address their resource needs by connecting them to an untapped pool of resources who are skilled and experienced. Okay, we say untapped because this pool generally comprise people who are often overlooked by companies in their recruitment exercise. Okay, and at the same time, we are also helping to provide work opportunities to mature adults and to help them stay mentally active longer as they continue to contribute at work. Okay, so for those who may be interested, our service is actually free for seniors, and we charge recruitment fee to to the companies we work with. Okay, so what makes us unique? We are unique in that our platform specializes purely on the mature market. Okay, we focus on connecting employers to the experienced pool of senior talents that we have. Secondly, our candidates generally do not face age discrimination when applying for jobs, not like in some other job platforms out there where employers will be looking for maybe the younger ones. Here, when employers come to us, they generally expect us to be sending them candidates who are skilled and experienced. And so, you know, our candidates do not face this sort of discrimination. Thirdly, we also provide help that's, you know, beyond what we normally others may provide. For those who are unfamiliar with applying for jobs, and also we provide relevant training via corporate and government partnerships. Okay, lastly, we provide employers the benefit of hiring experienced and skilled resources at lower cost with flexible work duration and scope. Okay, now many mature adults are actually choosing to return to work. Okay, now since we started about 3 years ago, we have seen many mature adults choosing to continue working or return to work after a short term of retirement, and there are many reasons for this. Firstly, as you can see, many are enjoying better healthcare and increased expectancy thanks to medical advancement. The typical person retiring at 60 could expect to live another 20 years or so. And so working becomes a very viable option, okay, to keep our minds active and also to help us continue to have this sense of purpose and fulfillment. At the same time, technology advancement today has allowed us the flexibility of working from home, or in fact from anywhere else, okay, and instead of just being limited to the office. So in this has actually been a very good incentive for many of the seniors who choose to return to work, because then they don't have to worry about the hassle of you know, combating the traffic jams on a daily basis. For some, the ability to earn extra income is a big motivating factor, as it can help them to maintain their preferred lifestyle or support rising financial costs. Okay, so what do seniors offer, you know, when they return to work? Many of the employers today, you know, from their perspective, okay, they are clear about what the clear about what these senior and mature workers bring to the workforce. Firstly, they get the benefit from the experience that seniors bring to the job. Many of these people are, you know, they would have 30 or even 40 years of experience, and once they are hired in the job, they can hit the ground running, compared to a fresh graduate who probably, without the benefit of experience and maturity, but, you know, require a lot more training. Okay, so very importantly, to many companies, the mature adults are also able to help connect them to help open doors, because these mature candidates would very likely already have established relationships in the industry. Okay, so in terms of business development, they are very good help there. Now, we also tell our employers that when they hire through us, they get value for money. So what do we mean by that? Okay, recruiting through us, the companies are very likely to get someone who has worked 30 years or even more, and they are willing to do a smaller job that pays less. So in this sense, right, the companies basically just pay for the job, but in return, they are getting someone who has got far more experience to handle the job, and they're happy with the pay that they get for the job. Just to give you an example, we had someone who was a senior finance manager, and she was earning at least 20K, if not more, in her job. But after she retired, she just wanted to have something that's simple, something to keep her busy, but without the stress that that came with her job as a top finance manager in the company. So it so happened that we were able to place her at that time to a job that it was basically a payroll job. Okay, and it only paid a very small fraction of what she was used to. I think it was about 3K. And the thing was that, she was able to do the job so well, and it was definitely something that she enjoyed doing without the stress, and the company was happy to have her because she was able to manage a lot of the usual routine problems that a more junior payroll person would probably have to refer to the management. But in this case, she solved a lot of the issues, and the management didn't have to be bothered with all these other nitty-gritty problems. Okay, so basically it was good value for the company. The other benefit that companies get is flexibility. Those who have retired are likely to be able to start immediately. They don't often need to give long-term notice, at best maybe just a week or so, but they are able and willing and happy to start work immediately. And they don't mind working short-term or even an ad hoc basis. So there is this flexibility. Okay, just to give you another example, we actually have to place someone in the company to work just for 2 weeks a month. All right, and again, just to do payroll. And generally, you wouldn't expect a younger person to want to do this sort of job, because the younger person will want to have income stability. He will also want to have promotion prospects and the opportunity to chart their desired career pathway. Whereas a senior person doesn't require all this. They've been there, done it all. And so, this is the kind of flexibility we are able to offer to the companies. Okay, just to give you another example as well, we also had another person, and it just so happens also to be a finance person. She accepted a job to do a very short, just about 3-4 months work to help clear accounts that had a very long backlog. And she managed to do this within just 4 months, working 6 hours a day, 4 days a week. And obviously, again, the employer was very happy with that. Okay, so when a senior goes back to work, what can the senior then offer in terms of categories of work that they can give to the employer? Basically, the employers can hire 3 categories of seniors. Okay, the first one being advisors. These are the people with very deep experience in what they've done, and they've been there, done that, and they can advise companies on very specific areas of business. Okay, they help to develop strategies, devise solutions to address challenges, and as mentioned just now, they can even help build open doors and build network. Very recently, we actually placed a few marketing professionals in some startups, and this is exactly what they are doing, helping to open doors, helping to initiate contacts, build rapport with potential clients. Okay, we have a large pool. We also have a large pool of middle level managers and executives who come with many years of experience that can, and again, they can hit the ground running without much training. They can definitely get the job done very quickly compared to the younger ones. Lastly, we have companies that hire mature adults just to do general work and support staff. This does not mean that they do not have experience, but rather they have chosen to do something that may be out of what they have been more experienced doing. Like we mentioned just now, we had this senior accounts person who chose to do payroll. Okay, something very simple, but in this case, of course, it was maybe a little bit more related to accounts still. But we have got many people who choose to do something else. Like I mentioned just now, could even just want to be a driver. Okay. All right. So our traction so far, let us share with you this. We are seeing more what we call growing opportunities for seniors to get back to work. Since we started, we have today got over 6,000 registered candidates and over 50,000 more through our association with government and corporate partners. We today have quite a number of companies who are hiring through us, and this includes MNCs like Unilever, DG, PwC, as well as local companies like CIMB and Sunway Medical. All right. So our partnerships with the likes of PAP has helped us to assess this big, huge pool of retired civil servants, and our partnership with Khazanah, of course, has helped us to increase the number of jobs available for seniors through the MyStep program. Okay, so now that we've heard some of these stories, so how do we then go about when getting a job? Okay, so how do we go about getting a job? How many here have actually, thought about getting a job? Who wants to get back to work? Christina, are we going to?
I've just launched a poll.
Are we done? Do we have the results yet?
Yeah, so we have the results. So a large
You want to share the
amount
results?
of, yeah, correct. I will do that in a bit. Can you see the results? So that's 53% have not applied for a job in the past 12 months and 47% has applied.
Okay, great. So anyway, let us go through this a bit, and then you can decide whether you want to look for a job. Okay. Now, some people will be asking things like, where do I apply? How do I apply? Do I need a resume? What qualifications do I need? Do I need to attend an interview? I'm so experienced. Do I still need to attend an interview? Well, many of these answers to the questions are yes. You need to do most of these things. All right. But the thing is, it's not as hard as it sounds. You just need to be clear about what you want and then remain resilient in your effort to get a job. You just have to stay focused. So the next thing that you should really be thinking about is consider your interest and your experience. Okay. You need to really think about what is it you enjoy doing, where are your passions, what are your goals, and then you need to consider how do you want to apply your experience, moving forward. What are the skills you want that you enjoy applying, and what are the certifications that you may need, just in case you want to go into a new area of work. The answers to all these questions will help you direct your focus on the kind of jobs that you want to apply for. Okay, so once you've got a clearer picture of what you want to apply for, the type of jobs you want, the next thing you need to do is to think about your resume. Okay, you need to be clear about the job because that will help you set the direction for your resume. Okay, now some of you may think that you already have a resume. Great. If you already have a resume, make sure that it is current and make sure that it's relevant to the job that you want to apply for. Okay, and also because many of you will have many years of experience, all right, but bear in mind that the person reading your resume does not have much time because they're going through many resumes. So do try and keep your resume to no longer than 2 pages. Okay, and it should definitely highlight your key skills and experience and include your contact number, and so that the recruiter can actually contact you when in case they want to meet up with you. Now, some in the old days, right, people are always ask for, please send a copy of your passport photograph. Today, it's not so necessary unless they specifically ask for it. Okay, so if they do ask for it, please ensure that you provide a professional photo of yourself. Now, referees, do we need to provide names of and contact details of referees? Answer is no, not necessary, but please also maybe can just say where the referees, you may have a column to say referee and just say upon request, because very often if they're interested, they will actually ask for your referees details and then you can provide. And of course, that also gives you a chance to prompt your referees and say, hey, I've applied for a job. Can you please, help to answer some questions for me? Okay, now, as I mentioned already just now, the recruiters, whoever's reading your resume, all right, has very little time to go through too lengthy a resume. So make sure that your resume is able to grab the attention of the reader from the very beginning. One very good practice we notice is to try and maximize the top 1/3 of your front page of your resume to a very brief summary of your key skills and experience that will help to attract the recruiter's attention and make the recruiter want to read more and want to find out more. Okay, so in other words, by doing all this, you are going to increase your chance of being shortlisted for and to be able to get the opportunity to also tell more about yourself and why you are more suitable for the job compared to the rest of the competition out there. Now, if you are looking for a guide to help develop your resume, you can visit higherseniors.my, and we do provide you tips on how to write resumes. Okay. Now that your resume is ready, you're ready to apply for a job. One of the first things that you may want to do when you are thinking about going back to the workforce is to inform your network. Your network may open doors to surprising job opportunities. Okay, you can also view available jobs specifically for mature adults at our website, higherseniors.my. And of course, there are many other job platforms as well. But however, just bear in mind that in the other job platforms, you may face competition because of age discrimination applied there by some companies anyway. You can also, a very good source also is to consider doing up your LinkedIn profile and apply for jobs through LinkedIn. Okay, the important thing here when applying for jobs really is to read the job description very carefully. Why? Because you want to be able to pick up key things that the job requires. You want to be able to keep your focus on the requirements and then help you to make sure that your resume highlights these specific skills and experience that the job is looking for. And always we say adapt your resume to the job requirements, because this definitely increases your chance of being shortlisted for an interview at least. And when you're ready to apply for a job on Higher Seniors portal, we need to let you know that you will have to fill up an online application form and attach your resume. If you find any problems doing this, just reach out to us and we'll be very happy to help you there. Okay. Okay, now that you put in the application, people may be wondering, how long do I need to wait? When are they going to come back to us? We need to tell you here that employees generally take about 2 to 3 weeks to review applications, and not all employees will reach out to every single one that apply. Generally, the unsuccessful applicants may not be contacted at all. So, our general guide is that if you do not hear from the employers, it's within 2-3 weeks, or maybe at most 1 or 2 months, you can assume that you have not been shortlisted for the job. Okay, so in other words, the key thing here again, as I mentioned earlier is to be resilient. You may not hit it right the first time, but you have to keep trying and be resilient, and you're gonna get it. Okay. Now, assuming you send your resume and you have been shortlisted for a job, what then? Okay. Now, the important thing to do is don't panic. Or many interviews these days are done on a very casual basis, and very often it's online. Okay. So the important thing here is be prepared. Prepare ahead. Check out the website, do your research, learn about the employer, what's the latest news about the employer, and again, review the job description. Okay, make sure that you list down the questions you want to ask, questions that demonstrate that you understand the job. For example, if you are looking for a job in finance, then check out the financial reports that may be on the website. Find out what you can about the financial direction and the situation in the company, and then ask relevant questions. Or if you are looking for a job in HR, find out what is the culture in the job. What are the things that they are doing in terms of employee engagement? What are they expecting in terms of recruitment? What are the skills that they are looking for? Okay, these questions are going to be very useful, and they're going to definitely help you find out more about the job and help you impress the interviewer that, hey, you've done your homework and you know what sort of job you are getting into. Okay. Now, I mentioned just now that now many interviews are done online. So what do we do? Do we still dress up for the interview? The answer is yes. Please do dress up the interview, and definitely if it's a face-to-face interview, so happens to be a face-to-face interview, we strongly recommend that you at least do, check out how to go to the place, check out the traffic jam there. Will there be jam? Will there be parking? Find out all these things. Test your route and make sure you get to the place on time. Okay. And if it's a virtual meeting and you think that, okay, I don't have to worry about traffic jam, at least try and set up, be on time, set up the system by, at least 10 minutes or so before the actual interview. Okay. Make sure you find out, is it a Google, is your interview going to be done via Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams? Check all this out way before and get ready. All right. Now, during the interview, you're very excited and there are lots of things you want to share. However, during the interview, we urge you to listen carefully to the questions. Allow the interviewer to finish asking the question before attempting your answer. When you provide an answer, please provide concise and sufficiently descriptive answer to show the interviewer that you understand the question and you know the purpose for it, so that you are able to, to again impress on the interviewer that, hey, you're not there to tell them stories about all your other success, but you are focused on the job and giving them relevant information on how you can do the job that they want done. Okay, so try and have eye-to-eye contact. That's very important. Always look at an interviewer when you are talking to them. And very importantly, relax, smile, and be yourself. After the interview, nowadays it's very easy because we have internet, we have got WhatsApp, the handphone is very useful. Immediately after the interview, just send a quick thank you note to the interviewer, and also use this as an opportunity to address some of the gaps or questions that were unanswered during the interview. Okay, and this also, you can also follow up if you want, like maybe after 1 week, 2 weeks, you are able to do that. It also puts you in a better position to do that once you have sent in the thank you note. Okay, now, if you want more information or more tips on how to handle the interview, please do visit our website, higherseniors.my. Okay, because we also provide you some tips on handling interviews. Okay, so you've got the job. Assuming you get the job, congratulations. Now comes the very, very difficult, or in fact, we say the most difficult part, because that's, now you need to adapt to the environment, adapt to the new workplace, assimilate with your new colleagues. Very often, they are also very much younger than yourself. Okay, so it's also to learn the new way of doing work, because many of our candidates get accepted to job, and when they start work, they realize that much of the difficulties lie in trying to adapt to the new work culture, trying to adapt to the new work environment, adapting to how younger people may work. They have different styles, they have different expectations of the work, of themselves, and also of you when you join the team. Okay, the key thing to know here is to recognize and to accept that the work environment today is very different from what it was 10 years or even maybe 5 years before. Okay, and to accept that our younger colleagues will do things differently. They will think differently, and they have different expectations. So accept this and enjoy, just enjoy the new job. Now, one very important thing that many seniors need to also expect is that you're very likely to be reporting to someone who is much younger than yourself. And, some of you would come from very senior positions. You're used to holding very senior management position. And some of you could even be your own boss. All right. But now that you're in your new job, you're very likely reporting to someone younger, someone less experienced than you are. Well, some may think that, hey, this is a very interesting idea. Actually going into it and actually putting this into practice is actually much, much more difficult. And, how to handle this? We say, listen and be prepared to adapt. Okay, so the key thing here is keep an open mind, be ready to adapt, and don't try and impose too much of what you think how things should be done. But try and understand how they are doing things there, and over time you know that they will listen. Okay, now why we say that is because it's generally a two-way thing. Just as you are adapting to the new environment, the younger workers, your new colleagues, are also adapting to working with you. And very often, if you get it right, the communication is okay, you're able to build that rapport, they are definitely far more willing to help in terms of, just in case you have any technical challenges with tech, with IT and all that, that they are more willing to help there. Okay, and definitely as they help you with the technology and as you adapt and you learn, you know that with practice you are going to get better. Okay, and we cannot underemphasize here, the key word again is resilient. Just stay focused and stay resilient. Steve Jobs, many of you would already know him or would have known him. One of the things he said was, never let go of your appetite to go after new ideas, new experiences, and new adventures, because that is what keeps us all alive. Okay, now, so speaking of adventures, I just want to share with you what Higher Seniors is also doing now. We are embarking on a new adventure, and this is something that we are super excited about, and it's a pleasure to share this with you. We are going beyond employment. Okay, and we realize that there's so many other areas of interest that are relevant to seniors today. And so we are launching a new platform called Amazing Seniors, specifically targeting adults aged 50 and above. And this will bring together all things catering to the needs and interests of mature adults like yourselves. Now, we will list products, services, and amazing deals just for seniors, and you'll be able to attend events and talks on subjects relating to your needs. You will, of course, also be able to read news and information curated specifically around topics relating to seniors, and you will be able to connect and ask questions to the larger seniors community out there. Remember the network that I mentioned just now? Yeah. So we are very fortunate that we have many organizations who are already on board with us and believe in what we do. So you can see we are also on Facebook, and just search out Amazing Seniors and you can follow us there for updates. Okay, we thank you very much for your time and the opportunity to share all this with you. Thank you, Christina. I'll back to you.
Thank you so much, Siweng, for the enlightening presentation. We'll turn the time over to some of the questions that have come through the Q&A box. I'll be selecting them for you, and then we'll see if you can address that for the crowd today. Okay, so I'll go ahead and choose some of the questions that have been brought up. So the question here asks, have you encountered seniors' children coming back to say they don't want their parents to work?
On the contrary, we continue to get children texting us, calling us, saying, hey, can you please help my dad or my mom get a job? I even had one candidate where we managed to get the dad an interview, and I think he was far more excited than his dad. He actually called me to find out, okay, what is the link? Tell me the link. I'm going to set all this up for my dad. And, yeah. So these are the stories we can tell. So far, no one has actually said, I don't get my dad a job or my mom a job. Yeah.
That's great. I think this has a very obvious answer, but is Hire Senior platform applicable to those age 50?
Oh yes, of course. That's what we are here for.
Another one here asks, so if experience, value, network, flexible, why can't they command the same value as before? Why do seniors need to be cheaper? Is it a choice of the employee, or employers don't want to pay the same?
As I mentioned just now, right? Employers pay for the job. And yes, we also are able to put seniors into jobs that's where they can continue. So we recently put someone who's retired, but he moved on to another company that actually required him to continue holding on to a job at director level. And definitely let me tell you, he actually got a pay rise.
Great.
Okay, but when we mention lower paying jobs, it's more because these are people who have retired and they say, enough, I don't want that stress that comes with that position. So therefore, they are willing to, because they're willing to take a job with less responsibility, so it therefore comes with lower pay. Remember, we also mentioned flexibility. So, sometimes they don't want to work 5 days a week. We had a case of this lady where when she was hired to be again an accounts executive, she was willing to come down to a much lower pay than what she was used to, but she had her terms and conditions. She didn't want to work 5 days. She didn't want to come into work before 8:30, things like that. Okay. So with all this flexibility, there's a cost to it.
All right. So the next question is, could you share if there are any specific highlights that I would need to feature in my resume to compete for a shortlisting?
That very much depends on the job that you're looking for. And yes, definitely we would like to say it's good to highlight your skills relevant to the job. And sometimes it's not just the skills. Given the opportunity, it'd be good to say but this usually applies only when you interview. It's good to say how you address a particular problem. And it doesn't need to be just talking about how good you are at it. You can even talk about how you manage the issue, like you got in touch with certain people, you were able to work with the team, you were able to manage the team. All this becomes very important. So bear in mind that because your resume has to be very concise, you may be able to talk about specific skills about how team management, about certain keywords to help draw the attention and interest of the reader to say, hey, I want to find out more.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, doing the resume is something that is work in progress, I would say, because you have to continue refining it and to adapt it to the particular job that you're looking for.
Right.
But
So,
there are lots and lots of help you can get from the internet, and as I mentioned just now, you can also check with us.
great. So there's a certain level of customization that people need to
Yes.
include in their resume processes.
And
Okay.
I mentioned just now, right, the top wanted section of your first page of your resume, you may actually want to refine that for each particular job that you're applying for, to make it more, like I said, to be more targeted to the job.
Mhm.
So that is going to be useful.
Great. Thanks for the tip. The next question is about interviews. So could you would you be able to advise if during the interview, questions on my health can be not answered because it's personal? Would this devalue my application?
That's a tough one to answer. It's your option, it's your right not to answer. Having said that, it's also the prerogative of the interviewer how they choose to take this response from you. So some may say, oh, okay, it's all right. If we consider to hire you, we'll just send you for a health check. Is that going to be okay? Some may just say, okay, if that's the case, it really depends on the interviewer.
Okay.
One question that may very often be asked these days is, are you vaccinated?
Yes. Yeah, I think definitely that. So the next, I'll probably go through a couple more questions. How do you suggest to handle these employers who took seniors in for their experience, value, and network, but they refuse to adopt anything the seniors say?
Uh, I think that one is, it really depends, because if they are willing to accept, I mean, they're going to accept you opening doors for them, which means they will actually be listening to you to a certain degree. So it's very much a give and take thing. We also cannot expect that our boss is going to accept everything we say. All right. Likewise, we do not always accept everything that the boss say. It's also not too healthy, right? So there has to be some form of communication. And we suggest that if you have established that kind of rapport with your employer, it's good to have open communication and say, hey, I thought about this. I see that maybe you have your reservation about it. Do you want to talk about it? Can we discuss? So personally, I find open communication to be very useful. But again, it's how we address it and how we present it.
Hi, Jasmine here from Higher Seniors. Just to add to that, if I may, we actually came across some of these questions that were asked to us by people that were placed who did find it a little bit frustrating because they had a lot of ideas and they were not necessarily taken in immediately. But what we also suggest is, think of it like a normal job where, you have ideas for your boss. You may verbalize it, but the boss may not really understand what you're saying. So one alternative, which we always tell them is, put it down on paper, right? Put it in an email, list down what are your key points in a very objective and clear way, list down what are the benefits of your ideas, perhaps put in data to support your ideas. So it becomes almost like a paper that you write in order to justify what it is that you're saying, and it's in writing. So then your superior has the option to take it in his own time or her own time, digest it and understand it in a very rational and objective way, taking out all emotion. And at the end of the day, you've got the satisfaction that you have actually put your own thoughts and opinions down and you've given it to them officially. And it's entirely up to them to accept it or not. But at least you've got the satisfaction that you've already said your piece. And I find that personally, that does help me as well. in the past when, doing corporate jobs and stuff like that. Because sometimes when we just say like 2 sentences and people don't necessarily understand what you mean and they may dismiss it, but if you actually put it down on a piece of paper, supported by all sorts of different arguments, pros, cons, and all that kind of thing, it can actually be considered, or even a partial amount of it could be considered. That's my view.
Great.
Yes. Great. Thanks, Jasmine.
Okay, so it's always just better to kind of make the case for it as opposed to build resistance towards something like that, I
Yeah.
suppose. Okay, I think there is probably a couple more questions. Looks like, okay, so looks like your platform is only for those seniors with higher education or a certain level of professional. Is that the case?
Well, it so happened that many of our candidates are professionals, but we also have people who have come to us for jobs, to be drivers, to be just general workers. We recently actually had employers who also hired through us for a supermarket, and this person in fact is like past 70 years old, and he's doing work helping to arrange the shelves, making sure stuff there's sufficient stuff and things like that. So yes, we do cater to this as well, to the general workers as well.
Right. Okay. Let me just do another quick scan of the Q&As. So how does a senior bargain for their ideal salary? Do you have any suggestions?
I think it is very much about being able to convince your potential employer about the value that you bring to the job, right? Because many employers already have a budget for the role. Okay, so whether you are able to negotiate for a little bit extra or not really depends on what you bring to the job. I just want to share with you an experience. Again, it just so happened very recently. We had an employer that came to us and said they wanted to hire a HR person, but they were not willing to pay more than 4,000. All right. So we happened to help them put this particular HR person in the MyStep program. So they had kind of a sponsorship thing, but that sponsorship is going to finish very soon now. And bear in mind, we said this employer said, no way they are going to go beyond 4,000. Yet today, because the candidate was able to impress upon the employers that she brings much more to the table than what they were willing initially, today they have actually volunteered to give her like maybe a 33% increment with promise of further increment by the end of the year.
Wow.
Yes, but again, it requires communication. It requires her understanding what is required in that particular role and what is the value that she can add to the role.
Right. So it sort of goes back to one of the questions you had answered earlier about making the case for it, right? So if you can
Yes.
note that these are your contributions and hey, maybe I could get this amount.
Yeah, sometimes it's whether what is more important to you. Do you want to make sure that you get the deal you want before you step into the job? Or are you willing to say, okay, I will go in and I'll prove to them that I'm worth that much?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a great tip. I think that wraps up our Q&A session. We're done with the questions. Thank you so much, Siwing, for
Thank you.
taking us through the presentation and also taking us through some of the questions today. I would probably just like to add that before we wrap up, that we're actually hiring seniors. We were looking for those aged between 60 and 70 years old. Here are some job opportunities that we're looking to fill. And benefits include working and staying with Commune Living and Wellness. So if everybody's welcome to apply. If you're interested, do scan the QR code to find out more, or write to us at the following email, career@uahospitality.com.my, or just go on to hireseniors.my. Thank you again to Higher Seniors and to those attending this webinar today. We hope the information provided here today has been beneficial to you. The slides can be sent to you after the event. Sorry. And you can access a recording of the webinar after the event on our social media platforms and website, where you can also learn more about commune living and wellness. So make sure to also check out our next sessions. There is going to be a follow-up session with Higher Seniors on the 20th of October, but there are more immediate sessions on the 13th with Care Concierge. Also, don't forget to fill out the post-event form right after this. You will stand a chance to win a free one-night stay with breakfast at Commune Living Bangsa South, or F&B vouchers to be used at Commune Cafe. Right. Thank you so much, everybody. So until then, have a great week ahead and stay safe.
Thank you, Christina, and all the best to everyone who's applying for jobs.
Definitely.
Do check out our website. Yeah, we do have some jobs there.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Tracy! What are you doing here?
Wah, Cipa kasui dia.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What have you been doing?
Lai, I show you my secret
Okay,
place.
Begin your senior living journey with us. Let's live a happier, healthier life together.